Hello there guys, my name is Joe Gimpy Dwarf and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. Now this is more of a tutorial for a guy called Uranium, or Uranum, or Uranus, and basically me and him have been talking about the multi-select feature and things like that in the game, and he wasn't too sure about how to actually use the feature, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you some things that you guys can apply to Space Engineers that makes your life 10 times easier. So if I just load up a world, excuse me sounding very groggy, I went out on a night out last night, so I will be a bit iffy right now. But if I go into, say, the station Zeta, what I can do is I can show off some of the features in this and show you how to do the grouping and whatnot, because grouping is something that is only really explained in the Keen Software House, but they don't talk. I'm going to show you how to do some cool shizzle whizzle right now. So I'm in this world. If I jump in to this cockpit here, it's a bit cramped in here obviously. If I go K, now as you can see I have a lot of things here that have asterisks by them, which is the stars. So they have an asterisk at the start and an asterisk at the end. These mean that they are grouped items. So I've basically taken these and I've grouped them to be, you know, a set of stuff. So if I go to green team lights, as you can see, if I scroll down, there's like 300 lights in this or something ridiculous. I have a group of stuff that has been selected. It's all like in a darker shade of blue. They're all selected for this one group. Now all these lights correspond with the lights that are downstairs. So if I take us to the green layer and just go down the lift, this world will be shown in a spotlight, so I'm not going to show you too much of it. Now the green section should be the first layer. There we go. So if I open the door as well, which should be 9, there we go. So in this area, those lights have a group. If I actually go into here and just look up a little, and maybe if can I get the view correct to see them? You may be able to just see them a little bit. Basically, if I just go 6, you can see the lights come on. These lights are all grouped. Now I'm going to show you how to group, and grouping is really easy. Once you get the hang of it, you'll use it forever and a day. So let's jump into this one. So say I want to group all of these assemblers together. What you do is down the bottom left hand side of your keyboard, there should be, where your space bar is and everything, on that same line, there should be Alt, Windows key and CTRL. And then up above from the CTRL, which is Control, there should be a button with an arrow pointing up, or it should say Shift. So basically, those are the two buttons you're going to need. Now, I can select the first one, then I hold Control, and this allows you to select random points within this to basically group things together and do whatever with them. If you just deselect that, hold Shift, and select the top one, hold Shift, and then click to the next point. It'll select everything in between and the end one that you've just selected. So this is basically a common Windows feature that you can use within the game. So this you can do on Windows as well, and you can do it with files and music and whatever you want to do. You can just do multiple selects. So again, Control, so you select the first one, Control, and you can select random points and just select individual things you want. Trouble is, you do have to know where your lights are and what lights are for which part. So what I would say is build everything first, apply the lights to the one section, create the group, and then so basically if I do this, what I can do is if I use Shift and select the top 3, I basically create a group for them and just go. If you go into this box now, it says block group. If I put in test in this section and go save, what this actually does is adds another group. So I can control those 3 or so assemblers from this one button, from this one control section. Now, if they are different things, you won't get as many controls. So if you select a thruster with the cockpit with a light, you won't get the options. You have to make sure they're of the same block. So again, with this I've got all thrusters selected, so I've got the thruster override that I can use on this. I have recharge cells, which are my batteries, which I have the battery selection for. I have the lights, so all the lights have the, you know, all the different editing sections. You only have to click on the one now just to, you know, change everyone. So that's basically those two features in a nutshell. If you want to delete these, you just go, you know, delete. But say you want to add something. So if I want to add something to these recharge cells, which are these batteries here, what you can do is you can scroll down to where they actually are, and what you can do is this will be a different block because this is actually the beacon. If I go control and select it and then go save, that, if I go back onto recharge cells now, is actually part of that group. So adding it, you just select the next bit using control or, you know, shift, and you just go save again. So if you want to get rid of that, you hit control again and deselect. So you hit control and just left click it again. So sorry, I couldn't get my lefts and rights out there. So you left click it, so, and then you hit save again, and when you go back up to recharge cells, it's not there anymore. It's not in the group. So it's basically how you do a lot of things. I hope that clears up some stuff for you guys. It's a bit of a tutorial for the grouping because it's been in the game for a while, but again, some people are unaware of it and some people don't really know how to use it effectively anyway. So if I just try and get this back to normal, and 6 and 1, there we go. So that's basically the grouping feature. Also with the grouping feature, if you go T and once I'm at the top, here we go. So if you hold G, you get gifted in the cockpit with this selection toolbar configuration thing. Okay, so within this toolbar configuration, anything you have in a group of blocks, so if you basically got a selection of things you put into a group, and you've got like a piston or a bunch of pistons that you want to activate at the same time, you've grouped them obviously because you want them all to act at the same time. So I have like all these different things here, and I have like recharge cells and whatnot, so I can gain control over these things using the toolbar buttons. If you don't know what these are, basically when I use the lift, I hit 1, and while in the cockpit, and basically I can activate this lift and make it go up and down, which is really useful because it saves you going into a menu. So if I go G, again G is the button, I can basically select anything I want. Now if you use the more than and less than keys, which is your comma and your decimal point next to your it should be next to your question mark and next to M on the keyboard. Of course different keyboards vary, so be wary of that one, but basically if you use those, you can scroll through all the different types of, there's 4 bars you can configure with different things, all 1 to 9. So I've got all the lift controls here, all the elevator controls for each level, so I can turn the lights on, I can turn the pistons on, and I can turn the pistons on for the doors. So if I scroll over, I want to say take these recharge cells and turn them on and off, or tell them not to recharge and whatnot. I can take the group that I've created, drag it and put it into 1, and it gives you some options. Now for each block there are certain things you can do with them, obviously. So what you've got here is you've got toggle block on off, recharge on off. So I want to toggle the block on off. I also maybe want to have recharge on off, so I can just discharge the power that the batteries have built up over the past hour or so. Just to prove that everything else does have different sort of features, if I go to floor 0 door system and take this piston, you've got a lot more sort of options, because with this block you can reverse it, you can You can change the velocity, so you have an increase and decrease velocity. You can reset the velocity, which brings the velocity back to 0. So say if you broke something for some reason, you want that as a failsafe, so you can just go stop. You're broken. Just stop the velocity, and hopefully, if you set the brake in torque 1, it should stop. And of course, increase maximal distance, decrease maximal distance, and increase minimal distance and decrease. So you can do a lot more things with these buttons now. But if I come out of that, if you look at the bottom where I've actually got those 2 buttons placed, you've actually got, when I do this, it tells you if they're on or off. So that's on. It's off, on, off, on, off, on. And then of course with the same for the recharge, I can turn the recharge on off, so that'll just discharge a bit more power than usual. So as you can see, my power consumption actually changes. So with this it says I only have 3 hours of fuel time when those batteries are recharging. When I do this, it says I have 14 hours. So you can see the difference with using these batteries. And of course my power actually jumps to 832.54 from 823.9 megawatts. So you can have all these different options configurable to your actual cockpit. Now these, if you want to remove them, right click them and go remove. Right click remove. It should work. Well, that is definitely a bug. Basically, if you right click and remove, they should remove, but for some reason anything I add to this won't remove. So I'm just wondering if I put a new one in. Toggle block on off. Remove. No. So I don't know what is wrong with this, but either way there is something strange. But basically, as you saw, you should be able to just deselect and delete them. So all these are your groups at the top. So like in the control panel, but all your groups are actually at the top of the list. In this G menu, they're all at the top again. But also you've got all the individual lights and all the individual connectors and seats and stuff. Now seats you can't do nothing with, obviously, and they're just in there apparently because they are like a special block. So some things you can't do stuff with. So that's basically an introduction to some of the special features. I've got to go now because my mum's hoovering and it's really annoying, but hopefully that's helped out you guys, and of course that one specific viewer, Uranium, or however you say your name. I'm struggling with it, I'm sorry, but hopefully this helps you and allows you to become a bit better with the features that are in the game. So I'll see you guys later. If you have enjoyed, please like, favorite, and of course subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!